Let me know, is everybody in the room?
Looks like we have 2 attendees in the room, right? I don't see any more joining in, so.
Let's rock and roll, Phil.
All right. Good evening. This is the Borough of Crafton Council meeting for Thursday, the 10th. Going to proceed to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Now that we've called the meeting to order, may we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Amendola, he did contact me. He's traveling. He will be joining us late.
Thank you.
Mr. Chandler,
Here.
Mr. Kraus,
Here.
Mr. Crown. I saw Mike on here earlier. We'll come back to him.
Here.
Okay, there we go. Mr. Lavasser,
Here.
Mr. Oliverio,
Here.
Ms. Perry,
Here.
Mayor Bloom,
Here.
Solicitor Corbel,
I'm here.
Engineer Minsterman,
Here.
and myself. We have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll be taking public comment on agenda items only at the beginning of the meeting. We have a maximum of 3 minutes per individual. There's a group. You have 5 minutes and you have to nominate your speaker. Please state your name and physical address for the record.
I do not see any hands raised.
Okay. And then I'm going to go back to the consent agenda since I skipped over that. The consent agenda is the approval of the minutes for May 13th and May 27th, and for the bill list for June 10th, 2021.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any questions or comments?
Obviously, it's the June 10th, 2020 consent agenda for the motion.
All right, there's
Apologize.
Okay. All right, hearing no questions or comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All that oppose? Hearing none that oppose, consent agenda passes.
I will just note, Mr. Amendola has joined us, joined the meeting.
Yep. All right, and then I'll just go revisit public comment real quick on the agenda items. If anybody's, has anybody raised their hand?
Do not see any hands raised.
All right, moving forward to the president's report. Most of the items that I'd like to discuss are going to be discussed in the engineer, solicitor, and the manager's report. There's going to be a newsletter circulating in the community in the next couple of weeks with community updates. And I just wanted to appreciate everybody that contributed to that. And we are going to continue to work forward with the construction schedule, and more information is being posted by Gateway engineers to the website. Resident contact will continue. The manager's office and the engineer will ensure that the contractors on both the Crafton Boulevard and the Fountain Woodlawn Promenade projects are all providing enough notice to residents, as there will be various street closures, lane closures as those projects progress. So with that, I'm going to move forward to the mayor's report.
You guys know I had a rough day today, so I have nothing for you all tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, moving forward to the engineer's report.
Yes, Mr. President, just a couple quick add-ons to the engineer's report that was submitted.
One is just to let you know that it is anticipated that the new consent orders will be issued this month. And that's where there'll be a significant requirement for source reduction, excessive stormwater in your combined sanitary sewer system to limit the amount of overflows that you are contributing to Chartiers Creek. So that order is coming. I've been on the committee to negotiate with the DEP on it. And so I'm very familiar with the order. And once it is in place, I think you'll be receiving it in June, and they're asking you to accept the agreement and sign it in July. And then the clock starts. There are several different deadlines: 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 15 months. Each of these different tasks are required to be submitted. So we'll have a game plan together to meet with you. The work that you've been doing so far has been a tremendous reduction in excess stormwater flow. So you are well ahead of where you would have been otherwise without these separation projects. So there's more to come on that. We'll come up with a summary of the tasks. We'll also come up with a schedule for those as well. So next is just some general information about ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings. The Crafton Boulevard groundbreaking was seemed to be quite a success. And so we'll be working to schedule a ribbon cutting for the South Grandview project and a groundbreaking for the Woodlawn and Fountain project. So that'll be early to mid-July. That's all I have outside of my report.
Just to add to this, the bid docs for the library roof, magistrate's roof, and the stone pointing and cleaning for the main building of the borough, those are also in the pipeline, and I believe the interim manager is going to speak to that. Right.
Correct.
May I ask a question or just bring up a small
Yes.
issue, Mr. Minsterman? I'm not sure if you're the correct person or whether our borough manager, but I have in the last couple of days had several neighbors complaining about the large dump truck that's all waiting to make its turn. It's parking in front of the school right at the corner. And people are saying it's very dangerous to try and pull out around the truck. I don't know if there's any other practical place, but is it possible to look into that?
Is it related to school pickups and things like that, or just driving in general?
It's about driving. It's about
Okay.
driving.
So I'm not picturing what's happening. So
Okay, so you know,
there,
they have a series of dump trucks that, you know, they fill up the dirt and they go off somewhere and dump it and they come back around. So you pretty much most of the day have a truck that's waiting its turn, and it's waiting
right in front of the school.
right at the curb, right at Noble in front of the school. And I've had neighbors come and knock on my door and complain about it.
So maybe we can move that truck back if possible. Yeah, then because it
Back
sounds like
or
an
some
intersection.
way, yes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what's possible, but I just thought I'd bring it up. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. We'll get them to check into it and get back to us on what's the, if there is a solution.
All right, thanks.
Thanks. Sure.
Thank you. All right, moving forward to the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wanted to give everyone an update on a matter that I think is of not only interest to council, but the public. I think everybody is familiar with the issues that have been occurring at 40 Union Avenue. Council received petition, etc., from the neighbors. And I'm happy to report that at the magistrate's hearing, which was held yesterday morning, I appeared and represented the borough along with Chief Sumter, and we were able to successfully obtain $2,400 in fines on behalf of the borough against the landlord. The magistrate, Kobestek, was very animated and threw the book, air quotes, or at the landlord. And the landlord is motivated now to continue. There is a hearing downtown on July 15th, I believe, for an eviction. And we're hopeful that that will end the saga. If it does not, we're concerned that the landlord isn't doing all that they are able to do. The borough is able to go back and try to push the issue again with the magistrate. So it was a positive result. It seems to be headed in the right direction. I know we all wish it could move more quickly, but given the COVID protocols, et cetera, things in the court system, particularly downtown, are moving just a bit slower than normal. So happy to report that. Happy to answer any questions if folks have it, but otherwise that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Moving forward to the manager's report.
Yes, thank you. Just a couple items on some updated projects. The green light go signal improvements. The punch list items, those are the outstanding items, small items that were still not completed, have been addressed by the contractor. We are ready to close that project out and submit for the remaining grant funds. Public Works will be adding covers, base covers, decorative base covers to all the poles that have been installed. That'll be happening over the next month. We've selected a cover and we're going to be ordering those. The next project we alluded to was the repointing and refacing of the Borough building, and then the new roof for the magistrate, which is also over the children's library section, which has been leaking and has been problematic. Had a meeting with the county. They are handling the funding, the funds for this project. We are just waiting on the county to provide the legal agreement. And at that point, we will be then ready to bid the project out. The construction documents have been prepared. So we're just waiting on the county to give us the green light for that. Another project, the demolition of 52 Baldwick, that's been in the county's hands as well. We just got confirmation that the COG, who's administering the grant on behalf of the communities, is ready to advertise bids for that project. The bids are ready to go. So we hope to have that out to bid on the 17th. And then we'll have construction later this summer to get that knocked down, probably within the next 2 months. The last project we have, reconstruction for Alley B, that will be going out to bid. And myself and engineer Minsterman discussed using pin bid to bid this project out. It's an online service that's available to local governments in Pennsylvania. And this would be like an online bid. It'll save us time and money. All of the administration of the bidding process is handled through this pin bid website. And then the winning contractor who wins the bid actually pays a small percentage. Rick, I think it's 1/6 of 1%. So that's how this is funded. So we are going to try that for this project. Hopefully this will help streamline the bidding process as we move forward. We are required to advertise in a local newspaper, which we are doing. Those are going out on the 17th of this month. And the last item I have is just a note. The pool is opening up this weekend. We're making our final walkthroughs and improvements down there. Just wanted to let the residents know we're going to be putting some signage up. The pool liner is brand new. And I believe that there was an expectation that we are going to be making some improvements to the bathhouse. We have just made very minor improvements because the borough was asked by the state basically to submit a grant for the renovation of that bathhouse, a total renovation, and then the surrounding land around the pool. So the borough has submitted a grant, around 700,000. It would be a 50-50 match. And this would be for construction next season. And it would be for a complete renovation of the bathhouse and the ground surrounding the pool. That would include permanent bleachers being installed, just an overall improvement. We're excited to open up the pool and welcome the residents back. So that's my report. If there's any questions, please let me know.
I have a question, just to clarify. You stated that the reason that we are not seeing the improvements this season into the pool bathhouse is because we're waiting on a $750,000 grant. Is that, just to clarify, is that correct?
We have submitted, we submitted for a $500,000 grant. We were told by the funding agency, why don't you submit? Because we've been working with them through this process. And they said the best bet for you is to go for the entire renovation, which would be upwards of $700,000. And it would be in a separate funding category, which we're already approved for. And that is the pot of money that we will be putting the application in for.
And so if we were to receive that grant, which I think is somewhat likely, so let's just say for a hypothetical, we do receive it, and in 2022 begin construction on the new bathhouse, what would that look like in you know, what could we see renovated down there?
It's going to be a complete renovation, new changing rooms, new bathrooms, updates the concession stand, a better flow for the residents coming into the pool, the cashier's area, just a better overall functioning flow for the residents, and as well as small office space for the staff, and a improvement for the break room for the guards.
So when was the last renovation made there? Do you know?
The pool house, long time ago. We've changed some toilets out, but Mayor Bloom, I'm going to defer.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, yeah, it's been quite a while. It's very dated and a tired building.
Okay, and so with this grant and reconstruction that we might see next year initiated in this cycle here, put us on par with most of our borough and townships around us as far as amenities are concerned?
Yes, it would.
So the residents could really feel like they're going to see something new down there.
Yes, and the match for this grant has been budgeted through the bond proceeds that we were submitted. So the money is there for this project.
So the bond, being taxpayer money, is going to go ahead and use taxpayer dollars to match other taxpayer dollars coming from the state to see a full renovation for the taxpayers, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the clarification. I just want to make sure it was very clear to everybody. That's all. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Grouse. Ms. Perry.
Yes, just to circle back around, if I understand correctly, the grant application is for a project whose total cost is going to be $750,000 or thereabouts, and the grant will pay half of the cost, and the bond proceeds will match. That is correct? So I just want to make sure that no one in the community thinks that we're getting $750,000.
No, it's a match.
Thank you.
And initially, when we were planning the bond projects, we were not aware that the granting agency was going to be coming to us, inviting us back, because initially the borough in the early parts of the 2010s had received a $500,000 grant, but had to turn it back to financial conditions in the borough. But the DCNR saw that we had done this master parks plan and the pool house was in it, but it was never funded. And they understand through the state reps and state senators that we went out for the bond, that we were in a financial place to be able to match a grant now. And that's why they approached Mr. Sample and approached us as the council and asked if we would hold off on our investment in the pool house, because they also understood through COVID that there were a lot of supply chain issues. They had seen that, and the projects were being stalled out anyway. So why not, hold off on doing the improvements? And again, that's another reason. Last summer, we all had good intentions of spending $50,000 to $100,000 down there, but given all the supply chain issues and restrictions with workforce, we were unable to do some of those improvements. And unfortunately, but fortunately, it's working out to our benefit that we were invited to this program, and we have budgeted funds towards the pool house. So it's a win-win for the community, and we just have to be a little patient, wait another 12 months before we start construction there, because hopefully we're able to actualize a plan that was laid out in 2014. All right, any other questions from council? Mr. Sample, do you have anything to add?
No, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, going to proceed to the standing committee reports. To begin with the Finance and Administration Committee, please. Ms. Perry.
So the Finance Committee meets on the first Thursday of the month at 8 a.m. in the caucus room at the community center. We also broadcast on Zoom and the link is provided online. So we most recently met on June 3rd. We were able to, as is our new process, review the borough financial statements January through April, and we're able to make annotations that will be added to that financial statement before it's placed in the meeting packets that will be available to council and the public for our second meeting. And then we have a number of projects that I spoke about last month and wanted to provide an update on those. With the expenses starting to come in for the bond project, we discussed some best accounting method for allocating the use of the funds to match the budgeted expenses. And we're making a recommendation to book the funds and the expenses directly to the appropriate general ledger lines in the borough books. So basically, a portion is for road work, some of it is for sewer, some of it's general fund. That's going to let us, anyone who wants to review the books, to more clearly see where those funds are allocated. So, for example, we are currently putting all of our engineering in the general fund line item, and it's not an accurate picture. We have some standard things that the engineers do for us every year, but a lot of the engineering bills are for these projects that have large grant matches. So we want to make that more clear for everyone. So, we've talked about how we're on a cash basis. And so what we end up with is that we pay the bills, and sometimes it happens in 1 year, and then we don't get the reimbursements till the next year. So it's a little hard to see. And so our financial consultants that have been working with us have suggested, and we are recommending that we create a separate construction budget that will be able to put the expenses and the revenue against each project over the full course of the project, so that we will have one place where any of us or any community member can go and see exactly what each of the projects cost over time, which is not possible to see in our financial statements in a clear way. And then one of the things that we want to discuss, and we'll do that at a future meeting, is to draft some rules to approve change requests to the construction budgets. Because, you know, as we all know, through these complex projects, things come up, and they may be expenses that we have to incur because of unforeseen circumstances. And we want to make sure that those changes are well documented and that we go through a good process to say, is this really needed? And what is the impact on the project? Give us an opportunity to look, is there someplace else that some changes can be made to try and keep the budget in line. So we'll be making those recommendations in the coming months. And I mentioned in my last report that, again, working with the financial consulting team, they're developing that 5-year capital improvement tool that is coming along on schedule, and that construction budget will be incorporated into that tool. And as I've said, the intent is to give really good visibility to council and to the community. And then the final point that I wanted to cover is that that our bond funds are subject to the electronic municipal market access rules called EMMA, and there's bondholder reporting requirements. So these requirements, as well as the regular report to council, our financial consultants will be presenting to us in July. That's it.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I think the committee is doing a great job, and I think Basic Business Concepts is being a great aid to the borough. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chandler?
Yes. So for the community services and infrastructure, just a couple things to reiterate because they were pretty much already all mentioned. Just wanted to pull focus on a couple of these things. We did have the groundbreaking for the Crafton Boulevard Sewer Separation Project, and that project is currently underway if you haven't been up that way. And we will also be scheduling a ribbon cutting for the South Grandview project as well. And we will also be scheduling the groundbreaking for the Woodlawn Fountain project. And Gateway is currently working on putting together the schedule for the road program for this year as well. And that's all I had.
Thank you. Actually, while we're at it, I'm going to circle back to Mr. Sample. Could you announce to everybody about the mulch program that Public Works instituted?
Oh, yes. The borough has free mulch and compost. It's at the parking lot, the Jason West Memorial Field parking lot. The bins are there. You will be seeing it in the newsletter as well, but that is there free for the community to take, and we replenish that as need be.
Thank you. All right. Moving forward to emergency preparedness, Mr. Amendola.
Miscommunications.
Oh, sorry. We'll go communication, recreation, and community events. Sorry, John.
No
Mr.
offense.
Oliverio.
All right. Our next meeting is next Tuesday, June 15th at 7 o'clock. Again, it'll be broadcast via Zoom. And so we have not met since our last meeting, which was the last week and right prior to our other council meeting. However, our main focus subjects are the social media website, and that's around the policy side, developing the policy, the hybrid model for future council meetings. We've obtained, 5 or 6 quotes, or we're in the process of obtaining 5 and 6 quotes, which the committee will be able to review and then assign one of the companies to actually go ahead and put the hybrid model in place so that we can meet in person and also have Zoom capability or video capability for our future meetings. The last item was the 4th of July celebration, and we'll be getting an update on that on next Tuesday, but everything is going forward as discussed in the last meeting.
Okay. Mr. Corbel, with regards to the digital meeting rules and regulations, do you have any recommendations for council, or if there's any changes, do we just announce it via Zoom? Pardon me, via Savvy Citizen concerning the Zoom meetings that we've been holding?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, the meetings have been advertised, so we wouldn't have to do anything different there. But tell folks that it's just in person or it's hybrid, etc. Savvy Citizen is a perfectly fine avenue of communication.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Mr. Amendola.
I just had a question about the recreation board. Was there any discussion at the meeting about the parade, or is it just totally out?
As we discussed at the last meeting, the parade is not happening this year for the 4th of July.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead with my committee report?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So we held a meeting on the first Wednesday of the month. This month, it was on the 2nd of June at noon. And it's the first Wednesday of the month. There was no old business to discuss, so we started with new business, being that it was our first meeting. And that was to review the purpose of the committee. Some of the action items that we talked about was gathering the contact information we need for police department, fire department, and EMS, which I think we're in the process of doing that now. Pardon me?
Yes, we are. I apologize. Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, the members of the committee are myself and Coletta Perry, and Mr. Lavasier came to the committee meeting. So we had a lengthy discussion about talking with the fire department about 3 issues. Their monthly operational reports and financial information that the borough is interested in knowing about, and grant opportunities. So we discussed that, and we want to let everyone on council know that we are sending a letter to the fire department president because we'd like to have some discussions about those monthly operational meetings and financial information and grant opportunities. And I think Ms. Coletta will address some of that under her finance and administration, that part of it. We also talked about talking to COG and ensuring that we get the PEMA and FEMA updates as they're distributed. And our next meeting, we're going to invite the police chief. Mr. Lavasier brought up the idea of inviting him to explain to us the local response to high-risk incidences, such as a train wreck, water contamination, bridge failures, any big major event. And we're going to discuss any upcoming issues that could affect the borough, and also talk about grant opportunities. So I don't have a calendar in front of me, but the next meeting will be on first Wednesday of July and at noon, and their broadcast.
July 7th.
There's one more thing I wanted to mention, but it slipped my mind here. So that's pretty much our report.
Thank you, Mr. Amendola. And thank you to our standing committees. With that, move to the next page for announcements. Actually, we have a business agenda first. Mr. Sample, do you want to go through this, please?
Yes, this is the final hiring. These are for the coaches for the Crafton Crocodiles, which the borough pays for. There are 3 coaches, Kate Elkins, Catherine Cozy, and Margaret Morvay. They have their background checks, and there's a motion. The funds have been budgeted for. So if we could have a motion for the hiring of Kate Elkins, Catherine Cozy, Margaret Morvay as swim coaches for the 2021 season.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments by council?
I don't think you can make a motion.
Yeah, I'll start.
Well, yeah, well, Colette, Ms. Perry actually made the motion.
Oh,
Anyway, I apologize. Yeah.
Yeah, I just said so moved, so. All right.
Are we good? Steve, we good? All right, we're good. Questions, comments?
So I'm assuming this is a bit of a departure from how we've done it before, but how does it align with the budget?
We have budgeted for these in the correct line item.
All right,
for the
thank
pool
you.
staff.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments pertaining to this motion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose? Hearing none that oppose, motion passes. Thank you. All right. Concerning discussion items, I didn't receive any discussion items from council. I'm going to move forward to the community announcements. Doug?
Borough office is open to the public. We are utilizing the buzzer intercom system. Things have been quite busy at the office, but we are open. Any emergencies, please dial, or I'm sorry, non-emergency matters, please dial the police secretary at 412-921-2016, or any questions for the administrative staff at 921-0752 extension 10. We have been quite busy, and that kind of segues into the pool is opening this weekend. I meant to mention during my report, passes have been selling. We're right now at 75% of where we were last year for the total year, and the pool hasn't even opened up. So passes are selling, which is very good news. We're excited, and hopefully the community is excited to enjoy the pool this summer.
All right, so you're speaking of 2019.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes, 2019.
All right.
So yes, we're well ahead of where we were in 2019. Last year we had the pool open. And then the last item, we are accepting letters of interest for 3 residents, and this is to serve on the steering committee for the Parks and Recreation Master Site Plan. If you're interested, please email myself at manager@craftonborough.com by June 16th.
All right, and then I know I spoke with a few members of the council about the idea of having a summer recess for the first meeting in July. I know that's a practice that used to be had 7-8 years ago. Given everybody's desire to travel and see family, I'm recommending that we tentatively cancel the first meeting in July and just have a business agenda meeting at the end of July. If there's anybody that would like to oppose that idea, I'd like you to speak to council about that, because that's what I'm going to be proposing. But I want to give everybody enough heads up so you all can make your plans to be able to travel and do those things in July. Is there any opposition to this idea? Mr. Sample, is there anything on the July, first part of the July business that we would miss?
No, nothing that we're aware of at this time is scheduled for any vote that wouldn't be needed for that meeting.
Mr. Amendola, what do you think about this idea?
I'm not crazy about it. I think we should have the meetings, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. All right.
Does this
It's-
kind of thing need to have a vote, or do we just secede?
Corbel?
Do we cede this to you as the chair, or how does that work?
If you're going to cancel the meeting, council should, agree to do so, at least a majority.
So do we ask for unanimous consent from the chair without having a proper vote?
Or I mean, I'm giving everybody, time to think about it. I'm saying tentative, and then we would announce the cancellation vote on it on the
Next,
end of the month for June.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I'm trying to give everybody time. You can think about it. We can vote on it. That way, you all can plan your trips and the community can plan their trips accordingly. All right. All right. So we're going to move forward to public comment. Same as the beginning, but this is also for non-agenda items. So does anybody in the public would like to comment on non-agenda items?
Not seeing any hands.
Nobody? All right. Well, with that, I'm adjourn the meeting. Thank you all very much. See you at the end of the month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. I can't leave. Leave myself. Oh, wait here. Stop share.